Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a DPS tier list ranking for every single weapon and weapon combination in the game currently. This video is targeted towards new players who are trying to find maybe what type of weapon to use and which ones are good, or maybe old returning players trying to figure out kind of what the meta is looking like currently. But we have a lot to cover, so without further ado, let's get started. Starting off with a strong A tier is one-handed sword sub shield. This class typically uses Revenir, which is an insanely high damage 100% critical skill. It does require some setup like flinch, tumble, stun and stuff to build up stacks, so it's not going to be quite S tier, but just the insane amount of raw damage and versatility that one-handed sword shield gets is going to put it on an easy A tier. Moving on to our next, we have one-handed sword sub magic device. This is going to go into, I'm going to go ahead and put it into the F tier. The reason why is because it doesn't have very good versatility. For one, it can't really do much against neutral element bosses. Second, it takes a lot to get started. So you need to do, three magic blades into a magic burst to really even start your damage. And that's not including any other buff that you might potentially use. And on top of that, it's a very large skill point investment, which means you're not going to be able to comfortably run like other iframe skills that you might need, like Meteor Breaker and Soul Hunt. So lack of a good easy iframe option, and just going to put this in F tier. Its damage really just isn't worth it. It's really disappointing. I mean, I even mained this class for a while and it definitely wasn't because of the damage. So yeah, with that being said, F tier, unfortunately. Next, we're going to go to one-handed sword and dagger, which we are going to put in the C tier. One-handed sword using its blade skills isn't actually very good. If you want to use blade skills for DPS, there's no reason not to just use a two-handed sword. And also, it doesn't take advantage of the dagger skills as well as, say, a halberd or maybe a knuckle. So with that being said, it's just gonna go C tier. Its damage isn't like too terrible. It's actually it's okay, but for the reasons of just other weapons being better, it's gonna go C tier. And with that being said, one-handed sword sub scroll is gonna be in the same exact tier. Same situation. One-handed sword skills on its own don't do too much, and ninja skills you might be better off using like a katana. So with that being said, yeah, C tier. Next we're gonna go to one-handed sword knuckle. Same situation in terms of damage. If you want better damage with knuckle skills, use knuckles, and if you want better damage with blade skills, use two-handed sword. But I'm actually going to put it in B tier because it still does get access to Asura Aura, which is one of the best skills in the game, giving you like a lot of perks and bonuses. So it makes it a lot more versatile, which in my opinion would deserve to be in a B tier instead of a C or F. So yeah, so next we have dual sword, which is actually going to be our first S tier of the list. Dual sword is absolutely amazing. You get insane skills with the tier 5 blade skills. Aerial cut is just absolutely monstrous and has crazy versatility with range, definitely securing an easy S tier. Next we have bow sub katana, which I'm gonna go ahead and put in the C tier as well. You're much better off damage wise going pure katana or bow sub arrow. Honestly, this is kind of like a jack of all trades but master of none situation, where you have access to katana skills and bow skills, but you just get less damage overall from the two rather than just using katana or just using bow. It's just not very good right now, especially in terms of damage, so it's just going to go into C tier for now. Next we have bow sub arrow. Easy S tier. Bow has been S tier pretty much since release, to be honest. Very strong. Crossfire is insane. Satellite arrows insane. Retrograde shot with bullseye and arrow rain, also just crazy damage. Also range, right? Very versatile. Its decoy shot is very good. Definitely an S tier. Next we have knuckle sub magic device. This is going to be more of a magic based knuckle, and with that being said, it's actually going to be S tier. Mage struggles a lot with damage and critical rate, or it has in the past, and Knuckles covers a lot of that perfectly. You do get magic scaling with Knuckles, and Asura Aura giving you that 75 critical rate is absolutely huge. I've seen like insane Nemesis damage doing like over 1.5 mil per tick on Nemesis, which is absolutely insane. And you get the versatility of Asura Aura, which just makes it an easy S tier weapon pick in my opinion. Next we have Knuckle sub Dagger. This is actually going to go ahead and go into my A tier. I'm really tempted to put it into B tier. It's a very skill-based class. You need a lot of skill to manage your Gatling Dagger, Shadow Walk, your Rush, and your MP, all of your buffs, your backstab, all of that kind of... You got to manage that all at the same time, and you have to know really good like boss pattern knowledge in order to capitalize on your damage from Shadow Walk effectively, which makes it a really hard class to play. But with that being said, it's very rewarding if you can get it to work. So I'm going to go ahead and put it into A tier. Next, we have Pure Magic Device. For DPS reasons, it definitely goes into F tier. But because of sprite skills, I'm going to go ahead and put it into B tier. Its utility in a party is absolutely like amazing. It's fantastic, phenomenal utility. Gives you extra stability, gives you all sorts of different buffs, instant revives, which is great. And it can do damage. You will see more success with damage, you know, the higher level in like rarity your gear is. So 2 slot is going to be like really important for this class to do any kind of good notable damage. But with that being said, it's going to go into B tier because it's also very helpful. Next we have a two-handed sword. Going to go ahead and put it into the A tier. It is very strong. It is really good. It's really consistent. It's just, it lacks certain things in my opinion. When I play it, it always feels like pretty clunky. Even with triple Godspeed wield, it's iframe that it gets natively Meteor Breaker. It does cost a lot of MP, so it's a little hard to manage. But its damage is pretty good. It is really good damage. It just lacks some of the like insane qualities that the S tier choices really get. So with that being said, it's gonna go into A tier. Halberd, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the same situation. Halberd used to be an S tier, but then they nerfed Draconic Charge, and now it's just good. It's good. It's not as crazy as Draconic Charge used to be. Now I would honestly recommend Dragon Tooth, which gets great crit rate and great physical pierce. And it's decently fast. It's a little expensive, but it does get access to amazing MP recovery options like Infinite Dimension. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in A tier. It is pretty strong. It does get a little bit of range, 4 meters. Pretty sweet. It's good. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in A tier. I think that's where it belongs. Next we have Katana. Katana's gonna go into our S tier. It's amazing. It's really strong. It's great versatility. You get plenty of iframe abilities that are really easy to use and keep you alive. The damage is really fast, and you get like with Divine Slash, you get amazing like huge bursts of damage, like 10-15 million plus. It's amazing. It's really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it in S tier. All right, next we have Bowgun. Bowgun, I'm gonna put it into A tier. Bowgun is very similar to Bow. They play the exact same pretty much, except for the fact that Bowgun uses Vanquisher instead of Retrograde Shot. And when you're using Arrow with Vanquisher, its effectiveness is less because you get more shots on your Twin Storm, which Vanquisher works when you have none. So it's gonna go in A tier. It does pretty much the same playstyle as Bow, just not as good. So it's gonna go into A tier. Next we have Bowgun Magic Device, easy F tier. There's just no reason to use it, in my opinion. Like the damage is never gonna be good if you use this. In my opinion, like I don't know, just use something else. Just use Bowgun Arrow. Just use Bowgun Dagger. Just use Bow. Like I don't know. Don't use this. It's garbage. Next we have Bowgun Dagger. This is gonna go into S tier. The reason why Bowgun Dagger is better than Bowgun with Arrow is because Bowgun Dagger actually gets less shots on its Twin Storm, which means it can get its Vanquisher up more often. Vanquisher does insane damage, 6-7 mil consistently, and having that available as often as possible is amazing. Also, still you get access to Crossfire, so it's just really strong. I would recommend running this for sure. Next we have Staff. Now Staff is amazing in this patch. It just recently got a buff with Quadal and Overlimit, which actually sets it, in my opinion, in the S tier. It is amazing at one thing, and that one thing is doing insane amounts of damage just really quickly in one burst. And with Staff Shield, Staff Dagger is what this one is going to be here representing. So it just does amazing damage. For longer boss fights, it actually falls off pretty hard. I would even put it in like maybe B or C tier for longer fights, but there's plenty of boss fights in this game you can pretty much just one shot with staff. So it's going to easily secure S tier. It's its very own archetype, and no other class can do quite what this does. So it's definitely going to deserve that S tier ranking. And then last but not least, we have staff magic device, which also goes S tier. Staff with a magic device is a lot more versatile. You get access to weaken, which gives you more critical rate on your other skills without relying on Quadal, and actually allows you to do a little bit better in longer term fights. But you miss out on like a little bit of versatility. Like you can't get some certain stats from dagger or shield that you might need for like one hit KO situations, but still, it's still amazing. Can pretty much do the same things, but is better, less good short term and more good long term, but definitely S tier. The new magic buff patch like really mages really got the long end of the stick. So very good. But that's gonna do it for the tier list. If you guys disagree, please let me know in the comment section down below. And if I missed anything, also definitely let me know. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Like and subscribe. See ya.